Stephen A. Smith is a sellout. Stephen A. Smith's an Uncle Tom. Stephen A. Smith ain't black. You ain't one of us. These are the kind of things that were said to me yesterday. Twitter, emails, you know, friends didn't say that to me. What they did was they called up and tried to talk to me, to challenge me on my points of view. Those that are in my inner circle, family, friends.
What about black on black crime? Where the white women at? All white peoples ain't bad. We is our own worst enemy. What about black on black crime? Where the white women at? All white peoples ain't bad. We is our own worst enemy. What about black on black crime? Where the white women at? All white peoples ain't bad. We is our own worst enemy.
Here, and she has a question for you about some kind of social awkward moments. I'll let her explain.
Hi, Steve.
Hi.
So Greensboro has a lot of museums, but it has even more American history buffs. Problem is, I'm not one. Whenever I'm in circles of people talking about history, my eyes get wide and I panic. I pray that no one will ask me about historical topics, so what I do is I just avoid eye contact and I head straight to the bar. But I need a better strategy. What should I do if I find myself in a conversation with a history buff that goes over my head?
I want you to look right at the person and do this right here. They ask you something about the past. You say, I don't really care for slavery.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Yes. Oh my God. Oh, yeah.
It works every damn time. That's what I do when I'm sitting around a bunch of socialites and they start talking about the past and stuff. That's my line. I just say it and walk off. I have my little drink in my hand. I just say it and walk off. I don't really care for slavery and walk off and leave them sitting. I don't give a damn if they talking about Christopher Columbus. I don't give a damn if they talking about a treaty. I don't give a damn about an amendment, a bill. I don't care what the subject is. It could be prohibition. I don't care what the subject is. When you get through saying it, and I don't know what the hell you talking about, my favorite line is, I don't give a damn about slavery, and walk off.
Train is coming. Coon train is coming. What about black on black crime? Coon train is coming. Where the white women at? Coon train is coming. All white peoples ain't bad. Coon train is coming. We is our own worst enemy. Coon train is coming. What about black on black crime? Coon train is coming. Where the white women at? Coon train is coming. All white peoples ain't bad. Coon train is coming. We is our own worst enemy.
You don't inflict harm or pain towards anybody else, but does it raise your antennas and makes you a bit suspicious? Sure it does. So what Mark Cuban was saying was 100% correct. It's just that simple. But the bigger issue that needs to be discussed, it's the big elephant in the room, and nobody wants to touch on it because white folks are scared they're going to be labeled racist. Black folks are scared they're going to be labeled sellouts. See, I tend to look at things a bit differently. You know, I look at our unemployment rate consistently being double that of folks in white America. I do understand that to some degree there's a level of racism that we all have to overcome, and I get all of that. But that doesn't mean every single issue is race-related. Sometimes it is about how you represent yourself. It is about how you present yourself. When I alluded to walking around with your pants hanging below your behind, that's trifling. That's just trifling. And it's counterproductive. When I talked about how you sitting there and the first words out of your mouth is, you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean? No, the hell we don't. You ain't saying anything yet. That's a reality. When I talk about not having a command of the English language, and still you want a job, and you want to have a career, but you don't want to get your education. You don't want to go out there and pound that pavement. Everything's about the sprint. It's not about the marathon. It's not about you putting forth the necessary effort and due diligence over the long haul to get the things that you need. That's a reality in our community. And when you look at the guys, whether it's P. Diddy, whether it's Jay-Z, whether it's LeBron or D-Wade or whatever, here's the reality of the situation. Everybody can't be them. They're special. And sometimes some of the special people, I'm not talking about them specifically, but some of the special people within our community don't get it. They are special. Everybody can't be them. So when I'm here on national television talking to them and talking to our community, I'm trying to educate you about the minefields that await, the stereotypes and the perceptions that you can't feed into if you want to move forward in life. Everybody we talk about this thing, Kerry and Skip, about the American dream. Let me tell you something right now. Do you understand that I look at a professional athlete, I look at some of these rap artists or what have you, making their tens or hundreds of millions of dollars? I don't consider them the American dream. I consider them a fantasy turned reality. You couldn't, in your wildest dreams, no matter where you're from or where you at, imagine that you could have achieved what they have achieved. It's very few that are fortunate enough to do that. When we talk about the American dream, you know who I think about? Myself. Hollis, Queens, New York City. Left back in the 4th grade, grew up poor. The level of education that I had was a public school system. I ultimately graduate from high school. I go to a historically black institution like Winston-Salem State University. I graduate with honors. There is no journalism program. I still graduate with honors. I still beat out thousands of people to get an internship that ultimately transitioned from a career at the New York Daily News to the Philadelphia Inquirer to CNN and then Fox Sports and then ultimately ESPN. And I'm on national TV every day. Get paid pretty well, I might add. And I'm thinking about the fact that where did I come from? This is the road you've got to climb. You know, everybody can't be Jay-Z. There's not one of them.
Coon trade is coming. Coon trade is coming.
What about black on black crime?
Coon trade is coming.
Of that potential is in the African American communities. There's so much potential.
Here now with reaction, former 2016 GOP presidential candidate Dr. Ben Carson and Trump campaign advisor, senior advisor A.J. Delgado. All right, Dr. Carson, 3 big promises: safe communities, great education, high-paying jobs. If you look at the numbers and break down issues economically, in the black community, they have been disproportionately impacted by violence, by a bad educational system, and the lack of economic opportunity. So this, to me, must be a long-standing promise that Republicans should be making every year, not just campaign years.
Yeah, well, better late than never. The Republican Party has been tardy when it comes to focusing on the downtrodden communities, you know, both on the inner city, some of our rural communities. And whenever I talk about that with Donald Trump, he gets very animated from the very beginning. And he understands that these communities are vital to the health of our nation. And you can't have a successful nation without this. But some of the keys are a good education, because that changes the trajectory of one's life.
Well, that's what your mother did for you.
Opportunities.
Dr. Carson, your mother took you off the streets and your friends, and she said, you got to read, you've got to study, and took away your games and your TV, and, you know, look at what you became, one of the best surgeons in history.
Well, it really differs from what the Democrats have offered. You know, they say, I'm going to give you this housing subsidy, I'm going to give you free health care, I'm going to give you food stamps. And, you know, that's not particularly helpful. What you want to do is provide the pathway, the good mechanism, so that people can climb out of a state of dependency. And you know, I've heard some people criticize Donald Trump and say, oh, well, he thinks that all blacks live in the ghetto and are poor. No, he doesn't believe that at all. Of course he knows better than that. But he is concentrating on the area.
What about black on black crime? Where's the white women at? All white people ain't bad. We is our own worst enemy. What about black on black crime? Where's the white women at?